It's showtime. Ji Assalamualaikum. I hope everybody's good. Everybody's charged up and looking forward to this class because it's been quite some while since we last met and discussed few ideas, training ideas. That's it. So in this video, I'm going to talk about freelancing. I'm going to talk about how to get work outside freelance marketplaces, setting up your bank accounts. I'm going to talk to you about the importance of creating a profile, what should be included in a profile and what you should avoid putting on your profile. Then I'm going to talk to you about the importance of uh, finding work outside freelance marketplaces. So I'm going to give you 5 avenues where you can find work outside freelance marketplaces like Upwork, Guru.com, Fiverr, and whatever it is. And then I'm going to give you a little secret in this conversation, in this training as well. It might just get a little prolonged. Fasten your seatbelts. I'm in no mood to hide. I'm in no mood to hit the end broadcast button soon. This is going to be lengthy because after tonight's class, everybody would be required to jumpstart their freelancing career. So what you're going to do is you're going to you'll be required to create Fiverr account. That is happening as soon as I close this stream. So all you have consumed till date is something you need to produce now. Consumption was one part. There has been a lot of consumption. You have a fair bit of idea about freelancing, all other avenues, and how you can get started as a freelancer, the kind of skills. So in this video, I'm gonna stay on cam. There's no assignment actually. Just I would request everybody to watch this till end and try to absorb all I'm trying to explain. I'm gonna actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a complete walkthrough of my journey as well. How did I start freelancing? Nothing happens overnight. The sorrows, the failures, the ups and downs, everything you would ever require to know about me, about freelancing, you're gonna get to know in this lecture. And this is probably everything you ever wanted to know about freelancing. So, yeah, thank you everybody for wishing Happy Teachers Day. Actually, my inbox is bombarded with all the messages since last night. So it all started 12 a.m. last night, and the messages just skyrocketed. I've got like 1,000 plus messages on my Facebook page. I've not even checked LinkedIn now because I'm afraid it's gonna be same on LinkedIn. Few messages on my profile. My aura on my profile is pretty uh, personalized life. Uh, I share a lot of humor. I share a lot of my lighter side. So there on my profile, not everybody takes me as a teacher. I don't know why. So I didn't receive much messages on my profile, but the page was overrun with responses. So for all those wishing Happy Teachers Day, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love you all. So shall we begin? Looking forward to those eyes, and we'll officially start. 3:58 it is. 4:01. Yeah, there we go. So let's just talk about my journey. How did I come across the internet world? And it's going to be consisting of around 10 to 15 minutes. And there's a lot of lesson for everybody. And the lesson is my internet presence wasn't established overnight. It was not an accident. It was something I always wanted to do. But then in the journey of finding what I want to do on internet, I've made a lot of mistakes. So tonight I'm going to talk about all those mistakes. And there's a lesson learned uh, from every mistake, and I hope there's a lesson to be learned um, on your front, so that perhaps you might just be inclined to attempt those those steps as well. And hopefully, if you do it correctly, if you do it all right, you might just ending up becoming successful. I certainly didn't become successful. So here's the thing: it all started with 1997, second Windows, and I wanted to do something on internet. I was so mesmerized when I used to see articles on on Time magazine, on Fortuner and Forbes, that people are cashing on the dot-com boom, and there's a lot of opportunities for different businesses on internet. People are creating websites, people are creating uh, starting with e-commerce store, people are creating software was actually taking a lot of prominence in the tech industry. And mind you, 97 is a year when Google was not born. We still had Yahoo, Alta Vista, and goto.com as the front runners in search engine niche and search engine industry. And it was also an era where freelancing was just kicking off. Elance was born, and back then we had we had no YouTube. There was no video platforms, and the websites were created in Flash. That was a talk of the town. There was no smartphone. Apple was iPhone was not born, and iPad was not born. Nokia was still the industry leader, undisputed king of the cellular industry, as most of you probably would recall from Steve Ballmer's picture over Times magazine. And Fiverr was still in its liquid form, to put it in the perspective. So in '97, I started attempting different uh, tricks and ways of making money on the internet. So it all started with alladvantage.com. Alladvantage.com was a website that would pay you for downloading a small software uh, widget onto your Internet Explorer. Chrome was not born, Firefox was not born. It was a huge fight going on between Internet Explorer and Netscape Navigator. If you want to know more about it, I would request everybody to type in the fight between Internet Explorer and Netscape Navigator, and you'll come to know about that awful, dirty side of Microsoft, and how badly Netscape was thrown out of the competition, even though it was one of the prominent feature of Microsoft Windows. But anyways, I'll leave you in your search to know more about that awful dark side of internet. And by downloading that widget that would stay at the bottom of my browser, I used to use Internet Explorer and was never a Netscape Navigator fan. And the thing was, you would get paid for surfing the internet, uh, and you would get paid for watching the ads. And just like on Google AdSense, if somebody clicks on the ad, yeah, you make more money. So it's two ways of making money. One is per thousand impressions, so you see thousand ads and you make money, and the other is you click on the ads and you make money. And then there was a third option. Alladvantage.com would pay you flat $20 per month, 30 days precisely, for using that widget. So as a curious internet worker, I wanted to make money. So I downloaded the widget. It was free to download, and I started surfing internet. Now remember, I'm talking about 1997, when we did not have any fiber connections or broadband or Wi-Fi's. So all we were required to do is go through a literally torturous procedure of connecting the telephone cable to your modem, and then dialing the internet connection every now and again, repeatedly again and again, as if you are being tortured. And if somebody picks up the phone, you're dead. So the connection, disconnects, and you'll have to call the ISP again. And the ISPs were pretty expensive too, because those were early days of internet in Pakistan. And I used to surf literally all through the night. That's where my habit of staying up late hours probably developed. And then, I received my first check of $20, and that was a delight. I was so excited. So my father took me to a bank here, and we opened up an account in US dollars, and I deposited that check. I was waiting anxiously to receive the check, and then I wanted to explore other avenues. So, like I said, Google was not born, and GoTo.com late it was lately converted to overture.com, overture.com. So, GoTo.com was a search engine that would let you install their widget on your website, and if somebody performs a search, you'll get paid. Can you imagine getting paid from Google for performing a search query? It used to happen in 97. So here I am. I downloaded that little code and installed that on my uh, website. And back then, we used to create websites in layers. I didn't know how to create tables. I didn't know how to use CSS. I'm a self-taught entrepreneur, and that's kind of struggle I want you to understand, that despite of not knowing the information, I was still making effort to make things happen. So I created a website using layers. The layers do not work anymore. Um, you know, didn't know much about Flash. Always thought it's difficult to learn, and I was not a freelancer. So 97, I started. Once I created the website, and it was even on a free domain. It was like xdrive.com/info. I don't know what was that info. Certainly not Infamous. Infamous story is yet to come. That's next year, the following year after 97. So I started performing all the search results myself. And then they sent me a warning. You can't do it because your IP is being tracked, and we have found out that you are, you know, uh, populating all the search queries from your computer. So you better not do it before we cancel your account. And then I was doing MBA, so I thought of a brilliant idea. I went to my uh, lab in charge, and it was a newly created lab at Barani University, which is now known as Agriculture University. And I, requested my lab guy to give me an access to the computers, so that by default I can set up this page, which is my page, xdrive.com/info. And I don't remember what was after that info word. So I installed this website link of mine that would open goto.com search engine, primarily showing the search box where people could populate the search, and that's about it. And then they would find a web result, and then they can click on the URL and visit their website. So we used to have a lab session for around 30-35 minutes, if my memory serves me well. And I made a master stroke of installing my website address as a default page on 20 odd computers. Now, all of a sudden, our class, MBA A, MBA B, BCom 1, BCom 2, BBA 1, BBA 2, all of them were using that lab. And I ended up earning $600 in 1997. I'll go to my parents sometime mid this week, and I'll bring back all the initial checks, because I have copy of those checks, right? So I'll show you those checks, and that's only happening on Being Guru 2.0. The earning is happening before Hisham server learns about freelancing and starts working as a freelancer. Now, that's something for you to understand, and that's something I've not even mentioned anywhere, not even in my Urdu book. It is mentioned in my English book, of course. The title is How I Made $1 Million Doing Freelancing. It's in the final stages of its compilation. So, fast forward. Now I've got multiple sources of income. I'm making 20 odd dollar a month. Back then, remember, the dollar was 50 rupees to dollar. You're talking about the conversion here. And I made $600. All of a sudden, I'm rich. My brothers, uh, they don't know what I do, but they're proud of me, or my two elder brothers. One of my cousin is in intelligence. Uh, he's from police and he did his CSS. And he literally had this 25-minute session with me in a closed room. Look, cybercrime is an offense. I have no idea what are you doing, but if you're making this 600 and 500 and 400 odd dollars, you must be doing something wrong. Now, before I dig in deep and ask you what are you up to, I want you to stop. And here I am telling my cousin, कसम से कुछ नहीं किया, जो भी कर रहा हूँ इंटरनेट पे ही कर रहा हूँ. I'm not doing money laundering. I'm not scamming anybody. I'm not ripping anybody off. And how do you expect me to do it? And I'm not a hacker. So it took me 20-25 minutes to convince my cousin that I'm pretty okay and I'm doing this. Now, it was very hard for a CSP officer to understand because he was making 7,000 Pakistani rupees in 97 as a grade, whatever it is. I don't want to get into that details. And that $600 was actually a full year salary for a gazetted government officer. So, anyways, we toppled beyond that discussion, and he took me to my father. I still remember my dad was lying on his bed and watching some TV program. Remember, those from 90s would recall late 90s as an era of ESPN. Since we didn't have privilege of watching anything beyond PTV, and a little STN was born in that 90s era, but that's about it. So all of a sudden you have this dish antennas, and you can watch all those Indian channels, those movie channels, and my dad, and it runs in family. We are sports fanatic, be it tennis, be it cricket, be it soccer. All the five boys in the house would watch it. And mom was like, ab mera time hai, hato tum log. So we are four brothers. And the reason why I said five boys is because count my father in. He was the one who would lead the pack. It's Federer versus Sampras tonight. It's Sampras versus Agassi tonight. Australian Open. Hey, the cricket match in Australia starts around 6 a.m. in the morning. So somebody set an alarm and we'll watch it live. So Benson had his colored clothing and everybody was so excited, right? So it all, probably was inherited from the dad side. And then mom was like, किधर फंस गई हूँ 5 लड़कों में. So fast forward, I come across another website, and that's affiliate marketing and CJ, commissionjunction.com. So CJ.com was an affiliate website that would let you, just like Amazon affiliate, Amazon associate, would let you take the code from the website, about different products, and you can place that code onto your website and you can get paid. Now, that's also in an era when MIRC was the most famous chat tool alongside Yahoo Messenger. Facebook was not born, MySpace was not born, and Orchid was not born. Now, if you guys are figuring out, is this guy from some another planet? I'll leave this to your imagination. So much of a journey that I've covered over the years, and I've not even started with my startup failures. So hang in there, right? So there you go. 1998 and I'm in my second semester of MBA. My bestie, Schwab, is the guy's name, and we have been studying together since 1992. We did our matric together, we did our inters together, we did our BCom together, and now we are in the second semester of MBA. That's where I fooled my lab guy. His name was Nasir. I am very bad in remembering names because I meet so many people, come across so many faces. But if Nasir comes right in front of me, I can recognize him without a second thought because I owe a lot of my success to Nasir. Uh, had he not given me a permission, he actually gave me a permission, not fearing anything, because nobody knew what the internet is. Nobody knew what the computer is. And back then in universities, they used to have this premium monthly package for ComSet's internet connection, and ComSet's it was pretty expensive. I remember 3,000 for unlimited surfing. So universities could afford it, right? And they were ripping a lot of students anyway for a degree that's good for nothing. I'm sorry, but that's how it gets down to. More on this later. I'm not going to get distracted from my core topic to jump into the debate about degree, but we'll have another discussion on this and how we can improve the degree. So Nasser allows me to install my website page as a landing page. So if someone opens Internet Explorer, my landing page would pop up, and that's about it. I've gamed it, right? Uh, okay, so my life story, nothing else. Anyways, hold on for a second. So, okay, I'm gonna come to Mars Asad in 2020. So when I get to 2020, it's gonna take another 15 minutes. Remind me about Mars, right? So, 1998, there was a place in Rawalpindi called CD Mela. I and Shivi, we go to that CD shop, and while trying to get a CD for Microsoft Word, because when you're doing MBA, for all those poor people who are doing MBA right now, they would realize that how much of how much they're required to do a lot of presentation. To cut long story short, unfortunately, but that's it. That's what the requirement is. So while looking for a CD, CD Mela, yeah, it was CD Mela. And back then, Yar Umar, it used to be right adjacent to that Odeon cinema. The cinema, which probably is now the cantonment building, and where they have the cantonment office, or maybe next to the cantonment office. So Odeon Cinema, and then on the left of Odeon Cinema, it was CD Mela, where people would get bulks of software for 25 rupees CD, and all pirated, of course, needless to say. So while looking for a CD, we wanted to install Microsoft Word and Excel. We came across a magazine, and that magazine was Time. And on the cover of it, we see Bill Gates. Fine enough. So tells me that this guy is world's richest man. And you know why he's world's richest man? He is rich because he has created an operating system which we use, Windows, and it was not like this when they actually started. So now somehow he got my attention, and while sitting right, uh, you know, uh, in the corner of that CD Mela, looking for, uh, uh, we were actually sitting with the legs crossed on the floor, and computer being my area of interest, I got excited. So I wanted to, as a curious guy, I wanted to know more information. अच्छा क्या किया था इसने बताओ ना. The Windows 3.1 and the Windows MS DOS, they used to be, uh, you know, uh, through a DOS system. There was no graphical interface to the Windows. So whatever we see in the Windows 97 is nowhere to be seen except Apple. And Bill Gates invented an operating system that has a graphical interface to it. So now you see, you load Windows, and then you see the startup, and then you see different browser icons, Internet Explorer, the folders, and the Microsoft Word, and all that stuff. So I was excited that by creating this software, the guy has literally got rich. Wow, that's exciting. Anyways, I bought that magazine. And I can still picture it as it happened yesterday, folks. I want your full attention on this. I can still picture it as it happened yesterday. I had 50 rupees in my pocket. That's what Ami gave me. The magazine was around, it was an old magazine, so it was around 25 rupees, and the CD, Shebi paid for the CD. So we still had the 25 rupees saved from my 50 rupees and 25 from Shebi's 50 rupees. We went to the Softo. It's a cone ice cream uh, right in the middle of Mall Road. It's called Bank Bazaar. And back then, that ice cream was around 15 rupees. So we got this ice cream, we got the magazine, we got the CD, and there we are coming back. Amaji asked me to give the, hisab for the 50 rupees, and I told her, okay, ji, bought a magazine and as well as bought an ice cream cone, and Shebi paid for the CD. So she was fine with it. I read that magazine, and I can tell you it was around March 1998. That changed my life, laid down the foundation of Hisham server, the world knows, and I discovered, pretty late of course, but that magazine has got a lot of contribution in changing and shaping my life. So much so that in my first and my best TED talk, because the reason why I call it best is because I happened to give that TED talk at Payas University in front of many serving major journals, uh, esteemed guests, and that was a dream come true to appear on a red carpet, yeah, and delivering my first TED talk. Of course, it was first of four to come. Uh, so, needless to say, the fourth one was pretty much going through the motions, no excitement, because I've got used to doing this, and then I made a decision, and I'm not going to do it anymore. It really doesn't make any sense because there's no excitement in delivering the TED talks. That first TED talk, and I talked about this magazine. I want you to Google Hisham Server TEDx Payas, and you'll come to know how that magazine changed my life. 1998 March, me and Chevy, that 25 rupees magazine. So here's the thing. Since CD is bought by two of us and the mag is bought by two of us, so it's property of both of us. No one owns it. So I read the mag, and then I'll have to give this mag to Shebi. Shebi installs, Microsoft Word and Excel, and then I get the CD, and that's about it. So it's uh, not someone's sole property. So, anyways, I was so excited to read the magazine, and I come to know how Bill Gates formed MS DOS, and then how he got an offer from IBM, how he created graphical interface to the Windows, and how he's helping people to develop websites that show nicely on different browsers such as Internet Explorer, on Netscape Navigator. And guess what, folks? The excitement just kicked off. Fuck, yeah. Website development? How do they do it? Now, I've been using website to find the websites that were of my interest, as well as to find the websites after 12 a.m. midnight that were of my interest. Not going to tell you everything, which teenager goes through. Why didn't I think of this? Website development. Now, how do they do it? There's a guy who knows how to code, but he knows how to code on a different platform. 1988, I developed my first software that would copy the source code and game from an external cassette drive all the way to the hard of Commodore 64. So the programming DNA was somehow lying dormant inside me and would kick off every now and then whenever I saw a computer and whenever my time comes. When I say my time comes, remember we are four boys. Everyone's time is equally distributed. So I get 1.5 hour, Chota gets 1.5 hour, elder gets 1.5 hour, and the eldest, अच्छा है भाई उसको कौन रोक सकता मार खानी है 11 साल का डिफरेंस so he gets all the time and he loves playing games on computer. He loves chatting on different platforms. So when I get my allotted time of 1.5 hours, the choice now predominantly gets absolutely transparent and clear. I want to learn designing. As a backbencher who has been creating hand sketches of his favorite teachers, females, so much so that I would present those sketches to my teacher and they would put those sketches in their drawing room, or at least they showed it hanging on the wall. Maybe they wanted me to feel happy that I've done something good. Chai. Thank you. Now I wanted to transform this hand sketching graphic designing to computer format, right? How do I do it? So now my time is spent on goto.com, the search engine I have, and I come across this website, dynamicdrive.com. DYNAMIC Dynamic Drive. A 1 minute break for this tea because it's going to get exciting. For those who are wondering how can I take such a hot tea, I'm Superman. Don't try to copy me. वैसे भी जो हरकतें मैं करता हूँ वो आम आदमी नहीं कर सकता. अभी सुनना जरा थोड़ी देर. So now much of my time is spent trying to learn how to do graphic designing, how to do web designing. And I come across this website called dynamicdrive.com. Can somebody type in the dynamicdrive.com? Komal, no surprise. I was fascinated by the long hairs, big eyes. And of course, I mean, to put it in perspective, I mean, a cute teacher deserved it, no? So anyways, dynamicdrive.com. I learned how to create small Java codes to create a website. I learned how to create table and create an HTML website. I learned how to create banners. In comes Photoshop. In comes CorelDRAW. Because in an pursuit to find the real key of developing a website, I come across that for you to create graphics, you got to do it on the software that are meant for graphic designing. So back then it was Photoshop, it was Macromedia Freehand, and it was CorelDRAW. Now, the Sham server gets started, starts creating websites. Created my website, created for very first website for my friend. His name is Umar Iqbal, still a good friend, son of General Iqbal, lives in Westridge. And I helped him out in lending my hand in developing a website that would run smoothly across multiple platforms. One is Internet Explorer, another is Netscape Navigator. There's no smartphone, there's no Chrome, and there's no Firefox. So by practicing, and then the second website I created was for my father's uh, organization. My dad is brigadier retired. He's a doctor, and he used to work for a non-profit organization that's on Murray Road actually, called Pakistan Thalassemia Welfare Society. So my dad used to work as a volunteer for gathering blood donations for thalassemia patients, and I somehow ended up convincing my father that um, you only buy the domain name and hosting, and I'll create website for your organization and will not charge anything. There was no SSL back then. Don't worry about SSL. SSL is a thing of 2000. So I created that second website. First one was for Umar Iqbal, which had a lot of dynamic drives, basic Java codes, and the second one was for Pakistan Thalassemia Welfare Society. And then I started doing part-time job. Now understand, I'm a pupil who's a full-time student in third semester of MBA. And in the evening, I am doing a part-time job. And the reason why I'm doing a part time job is because I wanted to have additional money. And whatever money I would get from my part time job would be spent in buying new software and buying new courses. And buying new courses means an 18-year-old spends money on lynda.com, 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 and buy HTML courses, Adobe Photoshop courses, and Macromedia Flash courses, right? So that's third semester. Came across a website called elance.com. It's a freelance marketplace where clients would post a project and freelancers bid on the project. Back then, Elance was the only freelance marketplace. Elance had all the proposals open, so anybody could go through those proposals and literally copy it. And my freelancing journey's foundation was laid down. So I signed up as a freelancer on elance.com and started bidding on simple logo designing projects because I wanted to get a sense of it, that how the whole thing lays out. And after repeatedly sending my proposals to different projects, mind you, back then, in the early days of elance.com, they did not have any restriction on number of bids you can place on a project. Net 21, it was Hashu Group's internet, Net 21, and that's what I could afford, 1650 precisely. I do not know how much I pay for my internet connection today. I swear, खुदा की कसम नहीं पता. It's somewhere between 2000 and 3500 or 4000 or 5000. I don't know, whatever it is. Excuse my ignorance. But I clearly remember, because you do not forget the days of your struggle. 1650, Net 21, Hashu Group. I used to buy that package. It was a postpaid package. I would use it for 30 days. Anyways, so I started learning graphic designing using Adobe Photoshop, Corel Draw, Macromedia Flash, and HTML on lynda.com. Can somebody type it for me? lynda.com, lynda.com. By the way, it's acquired by LinkedIn, if my memory serves me well. Lynda.com is now a LinkedIn company. Acha. So used to send zillions of proposals on Elance without any luck. And I thought it's something which is fake, something which is not true, or at least it's not true for somebody living in Pakistan. They can't win a project on elance.com. I used to get mesmerized by the account earnings of two companies on Elance. So half of my time would would be would be spent on bidding on projects, and literally half of my time would go waste on browsing the projects and accomplishments of two companies I really admired the most on Elance. The first one, being an India company, still exists. They operate out of multiple cities now in India, as well as they've got a silicon presence in US, and they are synapseindia.com. So synapseindia.com and their owner and the CEO and the owner couple somehow become my virtual mentor. So I would search different websites to look for couples interview, and I would get so fascinated that I wanted to become like couple. So in my job, that was a part-time job, and in my I'm still an MBA student, and I would tell my friends that once I graduate from my degree, I'm not going to go and work for someone for a longer period of time. I don't see this happening. And I used to tell my dad as well. Sometimes he would laugh at me, to karega kya phir? I don't know. But I'm not going to work for someone. I would rather create job employments and opportunities rather than being a employee working 9 to 5, literally working hard time to make someone, you know, get a financial freedom, and yet at the same time I'm still surviving on month to month salary. So that's not something I'm going to do. Anyways, as of my yesteryears, my dad would not pay much attention to all this because I've been, all over the place all my life. Sometimes I wanted to do a little business and I would request him to open a coca for me, and I'll sell, small uh, general store items. So he was as confused as I was because when your son can't figure out his roadmap, his future, that's something for a father to worry about. But yeah, the bottom line is I had this business nag in me. I wanted to do something orienting around business, but I had no clue what would that business line be. And I literally thank heaven for showing me the way, uh, because I attempted few things, I failed at few, attempted 50 and failed at 50. Let's put it in this perspective. But that actually expanded my thinking ability to, to establish a career on internet. Still wondering what would that career be, because i I started freelancing, and here I am, absolutely failed. Alladvantage.com went out of business. Goto.com changed to overture.com, and all of a sudden they got competition. Yahoo is struggling, and there's a new company called google.com, and they're hitting everybody by a surprise. Everybody's, beginning to use Google over Yahoo. And the people here in my university would not even pronounce Yahoo as Yahoo. So which is your favorite search engine? Yahoo. Okay, Yahoo, as a wow. Marisa Mayer was finding it hard to establish her feet as a CEO of Yahoo, late 98, and Google.com, which surprisingly, yet another .com emerging startup, was founded by two promising entrepreneurs, Larry Page and Serge, whosoever is the second guy. And those guys have announced Google with a bang, and everybody is talking about Google all of a sudden. I don't know. Maybe they were backed by the deep pocketed investors who invested a lot of money in Google.com. Because I still to date To date, I fail to understand how could Yahoo be thrown out of business all of a sudden, and then what happened to Overture? GoTo.com was very promising. It was growing. It uh, recently had a presence at Nasdaq, and to get uh, your footings on Nasdaq means that you are up to something serious. So how could Google come into equation and literally throw out its competition, who were turning out to be a giant in making? Yahoo and GoTo.com. Still a mystery. Nobody talks about it, but that's one of those Wall Street mysteries. I tell you, so much uh, intriguingly has happened at Nasdaq over the years, right in front of our eyes, that one fails to wonder how a business that's so well established could be thrown out like this. So that's Silicon Valley for you. Chalo ji. So I want to do something related to my expertise now. Comes 1998, late quarter, maybe third or second if my memory serves me well. So I abandoned officially elance.com. Here I am, a pretty moderate, usable sort of graphic designer. You would love to pay your money to, who's honest, who's loyal, who's hardworking, and who'd get the thing done in half of the price of what you would pay a US graphic designer. Getting inspired by TrueAdvance.com, the site doesn't exist anymore, but all of a sudden, Couple at Synapse India gets replaced by Eric Jordan at Too Advanced. I'm wondering, how did this guy come up with so innovative animation that he's literally, established his footing as an agency that's getting an attention of Hollywood as well as a lot of big sites, big companies in US. Elon Musk, SpaceX, they were client of TrueAdvance.com. SpaceX, Elon Musk. PayPal, they were client of TrueAdvance.com. WhiteHouse.gov, they were client of TrueAdvance.com. Federal sites, they were client of TrueAdvance.com. Mustang, Nissan, Ford, they were clients of TrueAdvance.com. What else? A lot of musicians. Josh, um, Streamly Media, they were clients of TrueAdvance.com. And TrueAdvance.com is something I would request everybody to go to Google and search after the stream it finishes. And you'll be mesmerized by the quality of animation those guys used to produce in late 90s. They're of so high quality that it feels like you're watching them in 2020 and they're created in 2020. By the way, for uh, those curious fellas uh, who want to learn graphic designing, I would request everybody to go to ericjordan.com. So here I am, still wondering how to monetize my skill set. I'm a decent graphic designer and I want to make money on the internet. How do I do it? So I come across this website called itmoonlighter.com. IT Moonlighter is yet another freelance marketplace. And back then we had few freelance marketplaces emerging alongside Elance. There was rentacoder.com, there was scriptlance.com, and there was another website, and I'm afraid I cannot recall the name right now, but who cares? So itmoonlighter.com. Uh, I created my account as a freelancer, just hoping to have a different luck and an experience as I had with elance.com. There was nothing before YouTube. Ji. There was nothing. There was no video platform. So I signed up as a freelancer, and they used to give you 10 free beds, as they still give you 10 free beds. So around my seventh and eighth bed, back then in 1998, we used to have Ramzan in winters. It was around December, right? So in December, before my Asr prayer, I bid on a project. It was a logo animation, logo 360-degree animation to be done in Flash. And I actually knew another software called Swift 3D. Just have been, as a curious kid who wanted to become best of the best, I used to download software and put my hands on them and experiment. Sometimes I like a software and I would just keep on practicing more and more. So that's how I got to know Swift 3D, and I got pretty reasonably good at it in designing 3D animations. So I placed my bid on a project, $50. Client name was John Jenner, and he wanted a 3D logo animation for a firefighter company in Brunswick, New York. So I placed my bid for $50, and I went to mosque and offered my Asr prayers. And to my surprise, before Maghrib, uh, when I came back, there was an inbox. And to all the freelancers, no, I didn't know Satrangi. Yes, Sabar. We are still in 99. Satrangi was formed somewhere in 2013-14 when I met Yusuf Sali. There's a whole story behind Satrangi formula. So I use my free bed around 6th and 7th bed. I get a response and my inbox shows one in a red color, itmoonlighter.com. And here I'm jumping in air and, punching my hands in air. Yay, I got a response. So John comes in and John tells me, look, I need to have this logo animated. And here's the logo picture. Ideally, I want this to be over a coin, which essentially means over a circle, shiny if you can make it, and you need to just animate it 360-degree. That seventh bed felt like winning a jackpot. I ended up creating that logo design in 45 minutes maybe, and I submitted my first sample. Mauli Saab ne Zandi went to open my fast. Probably would have spent around 45 minutes with family, offering my Maghrib prayers, and then coming back to the computer, only to find out the project is awarded and the guy has put money in escrow. He says, okay, I love it. Send me the source file. And I trusted my inner intuition. Somehow, in the heat of moment, in overjoy and in all that excitement, I, without realizing that John has submitted money in escrow, I gave him the files, attached it in the project message board on itmoonlighter.com, and John released the money. You can imagine the excitement I would get when I saw that $50 or $47 reflecting on my account. I don't know. Maybe this is something I want to do. So it was around the same day, around 10:30. Dad is in his bed, and I tell him I want to create a website and I want to open a company. Come up with a name. Dad was like, "Oh, kadi ko kam khud bhi kar le." मैं नहीं, नाम तो आप ही सोचे. I want to open a company, and gave him all the good news that I've won my first project. So where's the money? The money would probably, I have no clue where's the money. Look at the naiveness of a 19-year-old ignorant young kid who has no clue where the money is. 21, not 19, 21, because I was engaged then. So, anyways, then I contacted IT Moonlighter, and then they told me that they will send me a check. And once my threshold of $50 is achieved, which is 47 right now, three short of 50, they'll send me a check on my postal address, and I'll need to take this check to my bank and cash it, and then in 10 days time I will get the money. That's a pretty lengthy process. I can't have this in I can have this in PayPal. That would take around uh, 2 days. Whereas if I submit a check and wait for the clearance, it would take around 10 days. So much for not having a PayPal in the country. So uh, that was the first shock I received. But at the same time, joyful of the moment that I'm able to make an impact in my life and convincing myself that I can be a freelancer because I've made, some money. Watchful of the fact that this might just not be a routine for the future. This might just be a one off fluke. But hopeful of the fact that what if it is not a fluke? And what if this is just a beginning of a journey that's gonna be an awesome journey for my grandkids to know? So all these three, joyfulness, mindfulness, and hopefulness, that led me to a state of persuasion that look, if I can make $1, I can make $10. If I can make $10, I can make $1,000. If I can make $1,000, I can make $10,000. Could not foresee anything beyond $10,000. 10 days later, I've exhausted all my beds, of course, because I won the project around seventh bed. The money was in my account, and I had withdrawn it. So, a lesson learned that you probably should have invested all that money in buying a premium membership, buying bids, maybe. I don't know, whatever it was. But I, in a heat of moment, in overexcitement, just submitted a request to withdraw money through check to my postal address. So I still have that check, and I need to show you guys that check. And then the company name is changed from IT Moonlighter to, guess what? Guru.com. So I get the money in my account. I take that money out. I give a present to my parents, and I keep $1 with myself. There you go. That's still 1999 bill. It's actually of 95 because in Pakistan back then we used to have old bills. So that's $1. I just sort of like kept it for myself. For I have no idea. Back then I had no idea why I'm doing this. Why would I put it in a plastic cover, and why would I save this? I had no idea. But maybe God had better ideas. This was this was probably saved to show the future generation that if I can do it, you guys can do it as well. If someone who's a backbencher, someone who's probably good for nothing in the world's eye, if he can make money on the internet, you can make money on the internet as well. So that's a 1995 Uncle Sam's bill, $1. Back then it was around 50 odd Pakistani rupees to $1. Anyways, so I bid on more projects, and I start receiving responses. And all of a sudden I got a big client, $200, a website development in Macromedia Flash. Shoo! The website name is, I have no idea how many projects we have right now in my company. I have no idea about the names of my clients. But what I do know is the website name was ellipsis.com. The guy was uh, uh, Roosevelt, Roosevelt, and he had recently divorced, uh, and he wanted to create a website for his shipping company. So I bid on that project. I won that project. I started creating design. 1999 it is, first month maybe or second month, and then in comes Steve Ferreira, oceanfreightrefunds.com. कहता है ना, पहला प्यार, पहली कमाई, पहली स्ट्रगल नहीं भूलती. So much is happening today. I mean, in recent years, so much has been happening. So much is happening today. I don't have any clue what is happening around me. But what I do recall is the exact names of all the clients, 5 precisely, who were instrumental in shaping what would be a foundation of literally a landmark for millions of Pakistanis to come. And I'm pretty proud of it. And I profoundly claim my achievement. आसान काम है 1.3 बच्चा पढ़ाना डिजी स्किल्स में, और वो भी बगैर किसी क्रिटिसिज्म के. इतना प्यार, बाहर निकलो तो पकड़ लेते हैं, सर तस्वीर, जॉगिंग करना मुश्किल हो जाती है. एनीवेज, बहुत आगे चला गया. कमिंग बैक टू 2000. सो इनकम्स.com बबल, कीड़ा, बहुत बड़ा कीड़ा. नहीं, ये तो ठीक है. ओके, सो आई बिड ऑन द प्रोजेक्ट्स, आई विन प्रोजेक्ट्स, I make money, and that's fine. But that's a lot of effort. I can't do all this on my own. So what should I do? Comes back to Abaji. March it is, 1999. So it's raining outside. Still winter. Back then we used to have winters in March. For Generation Z, you guys would find it hard to believe, but March was still sweaters and jackets in Islamabad precisely. So that says, okay, go and search if you can find a name, a word missed. And I gave him a clue that whatever you want to come up with, connected with info. So it could be info brick, info sys, or whatever it is. And then, write all the words down, and then we'll find if that domain is available, because we wanted to form a company. Loji, it's raining outside, so there's a mist on his window. And he says, देखो ये mist available है, info के साथ लगाओ. So I searched info mist available. Price 13.95. I have no idea. I swear to God कि अगर आपको चीज लूं तो कितने की होगी, या लास्ट कितने की इंटरनेट पे ली होगी. 13.95. Infomist was born. So it was initially acquired on 3rd of April 1999. But then after renewing it over the years, and when I actually formed a company, when I hired my first employee, it was 21st August. And that's actually 2002. Amazing story. Dad literally threw me out of the house. He said, घर में बैठ के काम नहीं करना. I'll pay the rent if you can't afford it. But I know you can afford it because you have just ended up paying the last semester fees of your MBA. To all of you, Mama ki princess and Papa ke heroes, I paid my MBA's last semester tuition fees 100% from my freelancing money. 1999. और ये बात बन रही है कोई अक्टूबर की, सितंबर अक्टूबर की बन रही होगी. So dad wants me to leave house because my marriage is around the corner, and he sort of like felt embarrassed कि वो क्या कहेंगे जी, घर में बैठा रहता है, कमा रहा है ठीक है पर doesn't make any sense. And quite rightly it does not make any sense. घर बैठे बैठे, in one tee and one pajama, and literally not shaving for weeks. He sort of quite rightly didn't like it. So he wanted me to just get up early in the morning, go for an office, and come back late in the evening. So now the question of me making money was long lost. That was not even a consideration. Everybody knew I'm good at something. The question is, for how long? Is this internet thing actually for real? Is it something that's going to stay around for a while? And what if it doesn't? What's the plan B? So the plan B was, you give me 1 year and I'll stand tall on my feet, uh, and I'll start contributing in the family, and I'll not even ask a single penny of you all throughout this phase of late 99 and late 2000. लो जी एग्रीमेंट हो गया, गल खत्म होगी जी, ठीक हो. सर से तो उतरा ना, और दूसरे दिन आगे कहता ये दे दो वो दे दो. And I felt embarrassed as well. But then things changed in my last semester of MBA. All of a sudden, the guy who was a pain pays his semester fees. डाका तो नहीं मार के आया, नहीं मारा, खुद कमाया कसम से. ये क्या होता है फ्रीलांसिंग? Now we got attention. Everybody's asking in the house. भला क्या है ये? बताता हूँ ना, पूछो तो सही. So what I do is I render my services. I'm a graphic designer. So people are looking for graphic designers because there's a mid century crisis about to hit US economy, and they probably would go bankrupt if things don't go their way. So they are actually about to face a depression, and a lot of companies are firing their full-time employees, but they've got to get the job done. So what they do is they post a project on freelance marketplaces and they hire offshore contractors. And I'm an offshore contractor, praising just myself. And I'm an offshore contractor, and I don't make as much money as a US contractor would, but I'm pretty decent. So we have a company called infamous.com. I'm asked to leave my house for office every single day, Monday to Friday. I would come back late in the evening. No car, no nothing, all on my foot. My foot. Lovely days. If somebody gives me a choice of winding back the clock, I still go back at all those years. Those were the days. What a joyful moments I had in making all the effort in establishing my business, and then working hard for every single dime. I used to work so hard, and that's no exaggeration, that I literally slept under the desk to meet deadlines. That's not easy, right? If I ask you to work 16 hours a day, you're not going home, just sleep under the desk, you'll find it hard. Everybody finds it hard. But such was the passion, such was the motive, that I wanted to do something for myself, and I wanted to do something for the people. So the work plate grows, and as the work plate grows, I feel a need to hire an employee. Imagine the excitement here. So the guy who used to work with me in my part-time job, I reached out to him, and he had left the company, by the way. I was still doing the part-time job. The university had just ended, so here I am doing freelancing and my part-time job. Z, would you like to work for me? And there's a project, there's a catalog. The client is from Sarasota, USA, and she needs a 50-page catalog, uh, which is which focuses around the coupons. So anybody who buys this catalog gets different discounts from different service providers. So a workshop, a car workshop, or a car mechanic is they've got a coupon in the magazine. So whoever buys this magazine and they uh, just you know uh, take it off and they can redeem this coupon. So that was a brilliant idea. Not sure why it has not implemented or introduced in Pakistan, but that was a brilliant idea. Sarasota magazine was the magazine's name. Ellie Parker is the client's name. Z, without thinking twice, nods his head in yes and says, "Okay, what's in it for me? Look, Z, I'm getting around $2,000, and the best I can give you is $500 of this. For a guy who was jobless, he left the job at the company where we were working together, and he was laid off from the next job. So struggling to make ends meet, immediately agrees to the offer. But the requirement is he would come to my office in the evening, and will work literally all through the night in getting this done within a couple of weeks, and no strings attached. Once I get paid, you get paid. You get this done. Sarasota 1.0 is an instant hit. I showcased this in my portfolio. In comes a Pakistani, an expat Pakistani called Rizwan Chaudhary. I might just have that catalog somewhere. Sunmed Enterprises. Riz says, "Hey, I saw this Sarasota magazine, and you guys have done a reasonably good job. And did you guys do it all on your own?" "Yeah, of course. I'm a designer. He's a designer. We are a set of two, and we are pretty good at desktop publishing, which is the print media work. And how about giving you a free sample for a couple of pages so you can assess our creativity and our designing skills?" So that's where the free mockup offer was born for the very first time. I didn't know its importance before the surgical instrument catalog, but it just dawned upon me all of a sudden that what if I give him a free offer, and if he's able to accept it and I can navigate my way through, exciting him to give me his work. That's just brilliant. So we give him sample, and to my surprise, Riz likes it. Riz is for Rizwan, Z is for Zishan, and I was somehow Shebi is Shoaib, by the way. I'm sorry, I should have told you earlier. But the friends I've had all had nicknames, including me. I have my nickname as well. So just spell first four alphabets of my name, and you'll come to my nickname. That's Hish. Loji, Riz is okay with the samples, and Riz shows the samples to his dad, Lukman Saab, and Lukman uncle is fine with it. Lukman uncle is a politician, and no, I don't know. Sarasota is if it is still working. The magazine was Sarasota magazine, by the way. And Ellie Parker was the client name. So we just won another contract, desktop publishing. What should we do now? So Hisham comes back to his dad and tells him that the work plate has outrightly grown, and what are the options? How much money do you have? Well, I've got a decent amount, around $1,500. Look, hire in another employee. Okay, that's fine. So we hire another employee. The guy's name is Ahmed Sham. Still with me. The guy I showed you in the video, in the main channel's video on YouTube. If I'm not sure about the title of that video, but there was a guy, with a V. So yeah, it was Sarasota. So anyways, we hired Ishan full time. We hire Itisham full time. So Z's here, Shami's here, and then I just bid on a project about ASP.NET and I win a project that's around $500, a database driven website, and client needs the work done within 2 weeks. So I advertised on Rosie. Rosie was, surfacing up as a job site. Be the first, don't be the best. That website had a lot of flaws, but since Monas Rahman's Rosie was the first, it gained a lot of traction. So I advertised a job placement that here we are in Rawalpindi looking for an ASP developer, traditional ASP, someone who can work for us 9 to 5, and we will only pay 10,000 rupees. You get a resume from a guy from Texla, and the guy's name is Aurangzeb, Zeb Saab. A company informist asked by my father to have an office rather than working from home is all of a sudden four people company, three designers and one developer, Zeb Saab. So kept bidding. Somehow I was first on Guru.com. So let's just resonate Monas Rahman's Rosie.com example with Hisham Server's infamous example. Since there was not much competition on Guru.com, a lot of competition on Elance, but not much on Guru.com, I would win every fourth project I bid on. So I got a couple of more projects, get more people in. Hisham comes back to dad. There we are. What should we do now? Dad fearing that I might just do something wrong, says, okay, kal main daftar aunga. Apne wo Thalassemia Welfare Society se, I'll drop by your office. So dad comes to my office, and that was the first time I saw tears regarding me and my business in my father's eye. All of a sudden, I maybe so overwhelmed by looking at all those employees I was paying monthly salaries to. So I comes and sits on my. We had an open space. It was a small space, right? Just like a living lounge of a room. So very excited. I remember chapla, dobara chapla yaar. And he says, okay, I want you to do two things. अच्छा जी बताएं उनकी करना. I want you to quit your job. You're not doing full-time job. So now you're putting all your efforts in this venture. यही तो मैं चाहता था. यही तो चाहता था. हिम्मत नहीं थी बोलने की क्योंकि मुझे पता था छितर पड़ने. जी ठीक है जी बिल्कुल आप कहते हैं तो छोड़ देता हूँ. अंदर अंदर से लड्डू फूल. शुक्र है जान छूटी जॉब से. बॉस की शक्ल देख के भी बहुत बुरी लगती थी. And the second thing is hire developers. Because when I look at the equation of designing jobs as well as development jobs tend to pay off well, as well as the quantity of such jobs is posted more often than the graphic designing jobs. लो जी दो डेवलपर रख लिए. So in comes Noman and Rizwan. Then there comes another graphic designer to assist Z and Itisham and me, and the guy's name is Faisal Nasir. That's about it यार. इसके बाद कौन आया नहीं आया. We went all the way to 55 people company. That small living launch of that flat was so small that we had to take a building where we could accommodate everybody. I needed to have a privacy of my own as a CEO of a company, where I could sit in a closed room where nobody comes in, and then I can make more decisions. And then the company grew over the period of time. Fast forward comes 2014, and in this process I've created many businesses And to my surprise, I failed at every single business uh, apart from freelancing. So I create a rental website. I'm so inspired by parkwheels.com. I create a car rental website, fails. A job site, if Monas can do it, I can do it as well, fails. How about creating a freelance marketplace? WordPress is not the first time I've created it, folks. That's the second time. And this time around, as in the movie, when a hero fails first time, the second time he aces it. Inshallah, I'm going to win it. And I think I've laid down the foundation. It's pretty much on the cards. 40,000 people, and every single day the list is growing. So I'm pretty confident that I'll get there. Then I created, what was three other sites? Yeah, True Drops, a blood donation. It came with the mobile apps, all failed. Then I created Newsnama, newsnama.com. Failed. Nobody would come to my blog. Then I created TV 50/50. Failed. It was aimed to compete YouTube. Then comes raster to vector, which is CAD/CAM engineering. The first skill I started doesn't work. Then developed search around me to look for the projects around, the odd jobs around me, and connecting buyers and sellers doesn't work. And there are a few more hiccups in the process as well. So without realizing, I'm actually wasting my money on something, repeatedly doing something that's not yielding results, and I'm not learning from my success, from my failure, sorry. But being a stubborn idiot, I have been all my life. I was so stubborn. Now I want you to pay close attention to this. I wanted to talk about freelancing, but that's fine. We're going to talk about, that perhaps later. But for now, just listen to this. In a pursuit to achieve my dreams and goals, I went far beyond a point where there was literally no point of return. To cut it short, I overstepped. And that's a failure I repent. 2015, 50 people odd company offering services in Drupal. Couple of full-time clients, Matthew Ives and Tim Hadley. One is from Crawford, Texas, and the other was on the south side of Chicago. Half of my day would spend in playing Facebook games. And half of my time would be wasted in playing cricket with the employees I would pay salary to do clients' work. Such was the naiveness and ignorance, how sad it was, that I did not take care of what I thought is literally my inheritance. I worked hard for it to gain it at first place, and I worked hard in losing it with my own bare hands. So I find out that while magazines and news are covering my story, that here comes a Pakistani freelancer who has made $1 million in sales, who's ranked as a top seed on Guru.com as one of the top freelancers. He's also featured on Gurus.com homepage and given Hall of Fame and testimonial. Uh, the guy who has been barely, uh, you know, uh, given a car in the family, all of a sudden is driving Mercedes C class. So it all just got over me. Literally, it was too much for a arrogant young businessman who became a businessman by accident and who couldn't just get hold of all this. Kept losing employees all of a sudden. Drupal is out of demand. And here I am, literally bankrupt, absolutely fearing where the next money would come to. A Sham server goes back to that. क्या गलती की? I have no idea. Did you innovate? No. You know what? I might have 110 flaws in my personality, but there's one silver lining I can assure you that's that's something I'm so proud of. I do not lie. सवाल नहीं पैदा होता. दूसरा काम, मैं रिश्वत नहीं देता. गलती होगी, पुलिस वाला रोके, कोशिश कर ले 200 रुपये लेंगे, 200 रुपये नहीं दूंगा, 5,000 का चलान, 500 का चलान भरवा लूंगा, तुझे नहीं दूंगा भाई. उल्टा हो जा, सीधा हो जा, गाड़ी बंद करनी है कर दे, मैंने कौन सी खुद लेने जानी है, दफ्तर फोन करूंगा कोई उठा लेगा. एरोगेंट स्टूपिड यंग मैन. लेकिन ये दो गलतियां नहीं थी मेरे में. मैं झूठ नहीं बोलता हूं और मैं रिश्वत नहीं दे सकता, ना ले सकता हूं. Okay, gee, I need money. A guy who paid off his college, university tuition fees last semester. Guy who has been supporting his family all these years. Guy who has been a source of inspiration for 50 odd families, all those employees working for me. And mind you, if there are 50 employees, there's a good chance I know their parents as well. Because we used to have that annual gathering and, the families would come and it was a big gala. CEO साहब आ रहे हैं, CEO साहब छोटे से एज के, लेकिन चढ़ गई थी, अभी क्या करूं, चढ़ गई थी. एरोगेंट, एक से दूसरी बात पसंद नहीं है. How dare you say this on my face? Throw him out. So much for the excitement, right? For the mentor you are listening to. And I had my bad days. अल्लाह का निज़ाम भी बड़ा बेहतरीन है. 1 मिनट में फकीर को शाह बना देता है, 1 मिनट में शाह को फकीर बना देता. गया वापस वालिद की तरफ, पैसे दें, कितने चाहिए? 2 महीने की सैलरी कराते हैं, काफ़ी लेड ऑफ हो गए, काफ़ी छोड़ गए. So I would need around 12 lakh rupees. चलो ले लो. एक से दूसरा सवाल, बिकॉज डैड नोज कि अगर ये मिलियन से आया है नीचे तो जरूर ही इसने को बहुत ही बड़ा ब्लंडर मारा होगा. So he asked me 2 questions. शादीशुदा हो, बच्ची है, कोई लड़की थी जिंदगी में, गलत काम किया, सवाल नहीं पैदा होता. झूठ मैं बोलता नहीं. जुआ खेला था, कैसी बात, सुबह से शाम तक दफ्तर के अंदर फंसा. कौन सा जुआ, कैसा जुआ? Did you rip somebody off? No, never cheated on somebody. ज़कात पूरी दी थी, पूरी दी थी. सदका देते हो, दफा हो मेरे कमरे से. ये सिखाया था तुम्हें? सदका क्यों देना है? जब ज़कात दे रहा हूं तो सदका कहां से बीच में आ गया? Not a practicing Muslim. Somebody who takes religion as a Jummah to Jummah's prayer. अब क्या करूं? So on the one hand, there is a dilemma absolute sadness of losing something I built from my hands, with my hands, raised it all the way to the top like a bamboo tree, and everybody's talking about it. And on the other hand, I've got a dad who's just signed off a check. मैंने कहते दफा हो जाओ, नाराज सख्त. अब क्या करूं, माँ के साथ बैठा हो, ये हो गया जी, अभी क्या करूं, तैनों में कहंदी सी. So this is in Punjabi for those uh, who understand Punjabi, and then I'll translate this into Urdu. तैनों में कहंदी सी अपने पाँव जमीन ते रख. अच्छा जी, ठीक. अभी तो हो गया ना जो होना था, अब आगे की चलो ना. तू करदा की है कंप्यूटर ते? So what do you do on computers? I offer services as a skilled resource. सदके वास्ते पैसे नहीं ने, अभी तो नहीं है. जो तैनू आंदा है अगे लोकां नू सिखा दे. So whatever you know, teach it to others. इससे क्या होगा जी? इससे ये होगा, anybody who's struggling to know this trait would learn it, make money of it, and will pray for you. अजीब सिस्टम, ये कौन सी साइंस निकाली है आपने? मरता क्या ना करता, without realizing the importance of this. And then she went at length in explaining the importance of ilm nafe, and this sadka ilm not only helps you as long as you are alive, but it also helps you when you die. And here's a mother talking to his son about the importance of ilm nafe. So I come back to dad. So dad is pretty much like me. I mean, he forgives and forgets everything. Why were you so stupid that you did not innovate? You knew this service would go out of demand. Why did you not learn new skills? So the mistake was being fanatically focusing on Drupal as a service, only to find out that the demand for Drupal on different freelance marketplaces sort of like began to diminish with the emergence of WordPress. And we didn't know WordPress. We didn't know Magento. All we knew was simple PHP and a lot of Drupal. That's what we were doing. And with no demand for Drupal, and it literally deteriorating, and no expertise with WordPress, we were finding it hard to, diversify our skill set. Gee, lesson learned, G. From now onwards, I'll not only learn, but I'll make sure that I'm hands-on. So I'm not going to act like a badsha who sits inside a 4-wall office room, who doesn't want to interact with his employees, and just because he thinks that he's paying the salary, so he's got all right to distance himself from his employees, and at the same time, who doesn't know even a shit about what's happening in the company. रोम जल रहा था, नेहरू जो है बादशाह बांसुरी बजा रहा था. If you promise me you'll not make this mistake again, so start learning all the skill yourself and build it as if you are going back to 1999. जाऊंगा, करूंगा. Okay, thank you very much. So I learned WordPress, basic of it. And I started diversifying, paid attention to social media marketing, and most importantly, the promise I made to my mom, the word I gave to her, that I'll teach whatever I know free on internet, not in person, because I've got to make some money out of it at the end of the day. So principally we agreed कि ठीक है जो भी online होगा वो free होगा. So I started creating videos on Facebook. Comes 2018. Freelancing 2017. Freelancing is still struggling for me actually. I don't know why. But then I'm actually turning the tide. Things are changing for me. I went to see Yusuf Salahuddin in his Haveli Barud Khana. That was for the very first time. Great hospitality, सली भाई ने. ये वो खत है जो कायदे आज़म ने लॉर्ड माउंटबेटन को लिखा था. 7 Nukati agenda. So the reason why it's called 7 Nukati agenda is because it's broken down into 7 paragraphs. That we need a separate land to worship our religion and perform religious duties, and where we can live peacefully, where we are not the minorities, a land where the minorities are given their due respect, and everybody is equally treated and all that stuff. So that gave birth to, okay, how about breaking this 7 points into a Satrangi formula? So Satrangi formula takes birth. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to win projects back on Guru.com 2017. Satrangi is pretty lucky for me. Back in 2016, I laid down the foundation of yet another startup, learning from Khabarnama, my first website. So I formed beangguru.com, this time in a partnership with one of my US partners. And I'm glad that I found him, because not only he treated me like a brother, but he actually took care of me like an elder brother. So I didn't want to go back to my dad again and again for money, because I was struggling. But at the same time, I was courageous enough to tell employees that, look, I can't afford you, so you'll have to find another job. And then I kept few employees who were with me through thick and thin. Shami is one, and there are a lot of others actually. I'll introduce you to my team as well in one of the videos. So we formed beangguru.com, and the idea is to have a blog that could not only make money from Google AdSense, but also can make money from the sponsored post. Cool enough. 2018, Bean Guru is pretty much on its own, and I didn't do freelancing for the late part of 2018 and literally for the most part of 2019. So because of my videos on freelancing, I've been teaching on my page, on Bean Guru blog, as well as on my profile, doing a lot of live sessions, and then to some extent onto my YouTube. So I get this offer all of a sudden from Ministry of IT. Look, we are doing this, and we want you as an instructor because we have seen your videos, and you do reasonably well. So I go to Ignite. I have this session with them, and I tell them, okay, fine enough. I'll charge this much money, and they agree to it. And I'm signed up as a lead instructor, the front face of DigiSkills. But the challenge is I'll have to spend 3 months in Lahore. The name was conceived actually by my younger brother, Fatma. The younger brother was a die-hard fan of Salman Khan, still is. I don't know why. And he had this non-profit organization where he sells his merchandise, Being Human. So Being Human actually gave ways for for Being Guru's name, and that's how it was founded, and that's where the inspiration came from, right? And DigiSkills is an instant success. So 2019, I literally do not do freelancing, and I'm making good money, reasonably good money to pay off my expenses as well as my employees and my office. And I got some, reasonable amount of money from DigiSkills as well. Uh, and then I decide to create a YouTube channel, Incomes 2020. Now, before I explain 2020 in detail, 2020 is by far the best test year of my life ever since I'm born. Not only on a personal front, but from a business point of view and from the nation's point of view. So एक इंसान जो अपने आप को नकारा समझना शुरू हो गया 3 साल से, all of a sudden I'm getting recognition for someone as someone who's got a great sense of infotainment, uh, who teaches pretty unorthodox, but yet at the same time, people listen to him, people watch him, doesn't get a lot of haters. And he's an amazing teacher. Everybody's talking about it. है कौन यार जरा सुन लो सही. So in 2020, the foundation of work chess is laid down. COVID-19. I open a YouTube channel. Somehow it becomes instant success in a short period of time. I create another channel, becomes reasonably good enough for people to follow. Must be something that for 1.5 hours I'm speaking in English and still 180 odd people have been watching this. So I have officially trained over 1.3 billion people, a million people in the country, and that doesn't include the number of students I've taught on YouTube, not just in country but outside the country. So I've literally gone beyond the boundaries of the country as well, with a lot of new students from India, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, uh, Europe, a lot of people actually. And then, since I'm teaching freelancing on my YouTube, I start practicing it only to find out that tide shifts so much because of all the free time I've been giving to the people, regardless of their culture, regardless of their religion, regardless of their skin color, regardless of their ethnicity. God pays me back for all this sadqa, which is ilme nafe. And now the freelancing, which I had long lost, just strikes back as if I'm a ghudasawar, a horse rider, who's been acing the game for all this long. All of a sudden, coming back to 5K, 6K per month. New projects coming in. And not only new projects coming in, but we got multiple sources of income. YouTube is paying off well. BeingGuru.com is paying off well. There's another second channel on YouTube is paying off well. WorkChess all of a sudden accumulates, topples over 140K users here. People are using it as a bridge to find the potential sellers, and it's acting as a perfect matchmaking tool. What else? Social media marketing. And I've been helping all those struggling small businesses ever since this COVID-19 pandemic has struck the world. And identifying the struggling businesses around me, helping them with generation of leads and sales, and in the process making extra money as well. जो होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है. When you connect the dots and look backwards, you find out कि उस वक्त हिम्मत थी तो रीस्टार्ट हो गया. What if I had to go through that trauma of losing a big company, losing all my bank account, losing close relations, employees I'm talking about, and those employees I always thought would be on my side. But when the company began to rail through the hard times, they were the first one to jump off the boat. That's fine. Everybody's got their choice. But most importantly, it made me a better human. It made me realize the importance of humanity. It made me understand that everything happens for a reason. It made me love humans more. As a as a guy who 6 years ago who would just lock himself inside four walls, nobody could walk into my office as if I'm a U.S. president, you know. And by the way, I'm hugely inspired by U.S. democracy, and I literally tailored my ways into American presidency as a CEO of a company. Of course, I'm a boss. I mean, I'm not 35, and here I am signing paychecks of 50 around people, pretty decent payroll, and, and a lot of people report to me, and पागल तो होना था. But what if the drawback didn't strike 5 years ago? What if it just happened this year? COVID-19 pandemic, and all of a sudden everything going wrong. Age is not on my side. I would not have time on my hands to assess and recover and learn from that drawback. So everything happened at the right time in my life. A guy who was posingly a corporate material all of a sudden is a people's man. A guy who was focused on running a company, running after dollars, is all of a sudden doing this for free because he realizes what it feels like when bills arrive at your doorstep. Because he realizes what it feels like when you do not have enough money that you just can't go to the shop next door and buy a pack of cigarette. Remember, I used to smoke and I didn't have money because I realize what it feels like when your wife, when your parents ask for money and you do not have anything. But the most horrifying, absolutely terrifying and horrifying part was when your child says that this is what I need, and you do not have money. And things turn 360-degree around because you feel for humanity, you feel for humans, you feel their pain, you know their struggle, and most importantly, you know that if you show them a way, and once they, pass through this little phase of identifying and learning, and once they are on their own and they leave the nest, some point or another, one way or another, at some point, they'll be inclined to look back and remember you in their books as someone uh, who helped them out. And that's where the prayers come in. That's where the life changes. तो मैं उर्दू वाले चैनल में एक बात कह रहा था कि मुझे अब ये नहीं पता रिस्क कहाँ से आता है. ना मांगा किसी से पूरे 2 सालों में, मुझे नहीं पता रिस्क कहाँ से आता है, पता नहीं किधर से आता है. As a matter of fact, on a verge of paying off all my debts now, inshallah, in the next 6 months. क्योंकि अगले साल हज करना है. इस साल करना था, नहीं कर पाए because of COVID. So अगले साल inshallah, that's what the family aims, and not just me and wife, but also the daughter as well. There's no better joy than living for people, helping them out, especially when they're struggling, showing them the way because they don't see any light, you know, on the way to their journey, and they just do not know how things are done. And since you have done it, since you know how it is done, and if you show them the way, and if they get on the path of making money and standing tall on their feet, everyone with the right frame of mind, with the right spirit and right background and the family background, they will pray for you, yaar. So Jack Ma says कि we only rise by lifting others. अशफाक अहमद कहता है कि हम में से लोगों के दिलों में वो जिंदा रहेगा जो लोगों के लिए आसानियां पैदा करे। अजीब बात है, कैसे आसानियां पैदा करेगा? ऐसे कौन सा हो सकती है कोई तरीका? I could not even understand when my mom pointed the importance of educating others. I said, किसी को सिखाने से क्या फर्क पड़ जाएगा? फर्क पड़ता है साहब। आपको अंदाजा नहीं है कि जब एक बेवा अपने बच्चों को स्कूल में वापस दाखिल करा देती है, बच्चों को फुल टाइम खाना देती है। अब मैं उर्दू में बताऊंगा इस बात को। जब एक बेटी अपने अपाहिज वालदैन का, बुजुर्ग ज़ईफ वालदैन का ख्याल रखती है, जब एक बच्चा अपनी ट्यूशन फीस देता है सिर्फ इस डर से कि कुछ अर्सा पहले उसको स्कूल से निकाला जा रहा था, जब एक स्ट्रगलिंग बाप जो है वो अपने घर को चला देता है और अपने इलेक्ट्रिसिटी और बिल्स देना शुरू कर देता है, जब एक इंसान जिसको कोई राह नहीं नज़र आ रही होती, कोई उम्मीद नहीं नज़र आती, ऑल ऑफ अ सडन फाइंड्स आउट अ वे हाउ टू मेक अ लिविंग ऑन इंटरनेट, फ़र्क पड़ता है साहब, बहुत फ़र्क पड़ता है। सबसे ज़्यादा फ़र्क पड़ता है आई हैड एवरीथिंग बट आई डिडंट हैव पीस। I might not have everything, but today I have peace. दिल करता है तो कर लेता हूं, नहीं करता तो नहीं करता। सुकून है दिल में। ऐसी ऐसी जगहों से, ऐसी ऐसी आजमाइशों से निकला हूं कि जाके जब घर वालों को बताता हूं तो खैर सिर्फ वाइफ से ही शेयर करता हूं, मम्मी परेशान हो जाती हैं कि ये लोगों के बगैर नहीं हो सकता था। सामने गाड़ी आ गई, बचने का चांस ही नहीं है। किसने मेरी गाड़ी रोकी? कहां से रुकी? कौन आया वो सुपरमैन बीच में जिसने मेरी गाड़ी रोकी? वरना तो 140 पे मारना था, वो भी मरता, खुद भी मरता। कोई तो था। दुआएं आती हैं साहब, ऐसे ऐसे आईनी और गैबी हाथ बन के आपकी हिफाजत के लिए आती हैं कि आप एक नई जिंदगी, एक नया तर्ज जिंदगी एक्सपीरियंस करना शुरू कर देते हैं। कहते हैं ना, अमीर होके मुफ्त हो जाना ही दरवेशी है। आई हैव एक्चुअली एक्सपीरियंस्ड इट, literally experienced it, not just for myself but for the peoples I have been trading to. And when I see all those inbox messages, you saved me from committing a suicide, you saved me because I was about to get college dropout, as papa was finding it hard to pay my tuition fees. You saved me because ये मुझे मारता था दिन रात, अब मैं अपने पैर पे खड़ी हो गई हूँ, ये मेरी इज्जत करता है। And the list just goes on and on, just doesn't stop. इतनी बड़ी ये स्टोरी है जो इस किताब में मैंने लिखी हुई है, हाउ आई मेड $1 million डूइंग फ्रीलांसिंग। इंशाल्लाह जब फाइनल होगी तो आप लोगों को सबको बताऊंगा। बट नथिंग इज फॉर ग्रांटेड as long as you're alive, because life is all about struggles. I it gives me goosebumps when I even think about 2014 and 15. How could somebody who's so well blessed and so well placed in a society could just lose everything all of a sudden? फिर तारीख देखते हैं, तुम किस खेत की मूली हो, बड़े बड़े उठ के जमीन पे पटके गए थे। ऊपर वाले ने तो वो कौमें जो कि साइंटिफिकली हमसे एडवांस थी, जस्ट बिकॉज इंसान के बच्चे नहीं थे, उनको यूं पटखा 7 दिन 7 रात। कौम ऊद। सर अक्ल आ जाए, व्हेन यू डू एवरीथिंग विद एंड इन माइंड, तो ठीक हो जाती है। अक्ल आने की देर। So this freelancing journey was narrated and told to you deliberately because now you understand what the heck freelancing is. Now you know who can be a freelancer. My one advice to you guys is go out and put your hands in learning a skill. Nothing beats hard work. I couldn't have started as a freelancer because I wouldn't have been able to animate the 3D logo if I didn't know any single detail about Surface 3D. So that was the starting point, right? And I learned Surf 3D out of curiosity. So be curious enough. Be curious enough. My three E's, not sure how many of you know. The first three is it's all about exploring things. Explore different options, regardless if they pay you or not pay you. The second thing is experiment. Keep experimenting. And third is evolution. Whatever you do, evolve in your thing. Now to the Mars thing, it just started accidentally with the images of Discovery, a robot that landed in Mars 4 years back, and I have no idea why I'm so inclined to watch the Mars movies and Mars documentaries, all those NASA pictures. I even now know how Discovery works, how it sends out those uh, 4x pictures back to Earth, and I have got a lot of sense about actually it all started with the movie Martian. So Martian was a movie where 4 or 5 astronauts leave Earth to Mars, and then they land on the Mars, for those who do not know, Mars typically gets a spell of dust storm, and that dust storm sometimes lasts as long as 6 weeks to 6 months. So one of the astronaut gets hit by a rock, gets unconscious, and others fear, since they were calling for their name and it was a dust storm, they couldn't find him, and they've been yelling for him, and he doesn't respond because he was unconscious, fearing that he's dead and fearing that they all will die if they don't leave the planet. So they all jump back to their space rocket, and then they leave the Mars, only to find out that the guy who was unconscious was not dead. He was unconscious, and then he somehow it's a fiction, of course. How he it's a based on a novel, by the way. Martian is a novel, and based on that hot-selling novel, and uh, which was a New York Times bestseller. They made a movie on that novel. So the guy then learns how to survive on Mars, and then he learns how to Matt Damon, yeah, and then he learns how to come back to Earth, and then midway meets the other astronauts, and then they get him into the new rocket, and then they safely get him back to Earth. Amazing movie, and ever since I got this curiosity about Mars, so I've been exploring this thing, and I'm actually planning to open a blog pivoting around Mars. I think I've got a handful knowledge about red planet. The other day, I actually showed my daughter, look, that red dot just on the 45 of moon is actually Mars. She was like, अच्छा तो ये है जो आप हर वक्त देखते रहते हैं. I don't know. Maybe fun finding. I've just sail my way to that planet, red planet. Fantasy, the dream, you never know. Yeah, it was day before yesterday. It was pretty prominent actually on 45 of moon. You could see that red dot, and I wish I had telescope so I could show this to her. But I know how it looks like. I've been watching a lot of movies and seeing a lot of pictures about the red planet. Uh, as long as you're alive, if you are able to help somebody out, if you're learning, if you're spending every single minute of your life exploring and learning new things and new avenues, I think you're doing justice to your to your life. For those who think that, look, here's what I've done in 2020. I told you that probably one of the best year of my life. I'm not just over exaggerating it. One of the best year. Let's put it in this perspective. 96 was another one. When I first fell in love, 96 it was. Perhaps 1988 was another one. 92 was another one. So there have been a lot of golden years. You could have 2018 uh, DG skills. That's another delightful moment. Pleased me a lot. Now let's see what I've done in 2020 for myself and for people. So there's work chest. There's a new YouTube. A lot of learning for everybody. There's a second YouTube channel. I taught a lot of different skills. Talk about internet money. A year well spent, and there's still a quarter to come. So my question to everybody who's watching me right now is, uh, that's not a new water, Mama Ejaz, it's an old water. They keep on claiming it every now and then, but try to understand when a dust storm comes in and then it settles down, there's a good chance it might just, out of blue, might just rain. Um, and that's what they say, that there are the signs of water. And then, of course, the trail it leaves. The dust storm, maybe it's so fast, it comes at a very rapid pace that it might just leave some uh, trail marks. And scientists, since they only can see the picture, nobody has gone to Mars and explored it with their naked eyes, so they only uh, you know assume based on the pictures which Discovery has been sending back to Earth. So anyways, that's 2020. I've been doing very productively amid COVID-19. I'm not sure about the future. Look, only Allah Almighty knows the future. Allah करे बेहतर हो, Allah करे खैर हो. यही दुआ करता हूँ अपने लिए भी, सबके लिए दुआ करता हूँ. But what if I ask you, what have you done in 2020? Except coming across to my channel, learning new skills. If you've done it, there's still 3 months to go. That's the last quarter of 2020, and you can make things happen. But if I tell you in the next 3 months, that's October, November, December, before 2020 calls it uh, a day on 30th or 31st of December. What if I tell you you can learn a new skill? What if I tell you you can start freelancing? What if I tell you you can create a blog? What if I tell you you can create a YouTube channel? What if I tell you you create a digital product, maybe a PDF, maybe sign up for Amazon or any affiliate product and create a website? I've taught you how to do search engine optimization. I've taught you how to do social media marketing. Make effing things happen. Does that make sense? Does it make sense? The reason why you can only make this happen is by actively starting. So tonight, I'm asking everybody who's watching me right now is, I want you to create an account on Fiverr, spend next 3 to 4 days knowing your competition, that put in 80-20 Pareto principle, search 80% of your time in identifying the keywords that have got moderate volume and less competition. Go for it. Create your 7 gigs. That's your assignment. This week, for every single class I'm about to teach, starting with this one, and I just didn't realize we've been doing this for 2 hours. Probably one of the best lectures of mine on the internet. And I give you a full permission. Take cuts out from this video and go ahead, produce it on your social media. So I've got, even if you put a background music and whatever you want to do, this particular stream is all yours. So you can download it and you can do whatever you don't want to do with it. Because there's a lot of lesson for everybody to learn. That's what the roller coaster ride has been. There you go, struggling, and then there's a steadfast, and then there's a full surge to boom, and then all of a sudden there's a nosedive. What if I couldn't get my pieces together when I was falling down? I wouldn't have been doing this live stream to tell you. Uh, yeah, I watched 300 as well. So I wouldn't have been live or maybe here to tell you how to get over the sorrows, the despairs, the disappointments. So the key line here is, if a computer software has an upgraded version, why we the humans do not improve? Our today has to be better than our yesterday, and our tomorrow has to be better than our today. That is all progressive humans are all about. It's all about learning new things. It's all about making the best of your day. And remember that advice of Satka. If you can't give out your money, at least if you know something, uh, share it with others. I, before you guys, and most of you watched the first stream, I can assure you not many of you had a fair bit of idea about all these six skill sets. It's freelancing, digital marketing, social media marketing, blogging, YouTube, and digital products. I can assure you, not many of you had fair bit of idea, but now, from after last 2 weeks and after this week, I'm sure many of you would have gained a lot of knowledge about these different skill sets. One request if there's one thing I would request you guys, and that request would be, every day I write with you in mind. I want you to every single day start your day on computer with beingguru.com. There's a tab that says freelancing. Click on it. I want you to do it right now as we speak. And please, when I take these classes, when I do these trainings, make sure you watch the video on your computer or laptop, and then at the same time you have your smartphone or tablet or iPad, whatever you have. You should have two gadgets, so that whenever I request you to go to a link, you can actually click on that link and then learn from what I'm trying to teach you. So the link of freelancing is, for the very first time, I've given in the description of this video. If you click on it, this freelancing category has every single detail you ever wanted to know about freelancing. It talks about Fiverr, it talks about Guru.com, it talks about Upwork. You all have been complaining about the Upwork videos. Forget about Upwork videos. There's a lot of blog post here. You need to learn how to search. So, this category, I want you to bookmark it. Just like I asked Nasir Bhai in 1998 to allow me to, put uh, xdrive.com/info, whatever it was, that would pull up go to .com affiliate search engine. Every single detail you ever wanted to learn about freelancing, and click on the pagination at the bottom, 1 2 3 4 5. There's around literally 200 plus blog posts on freelancing. I did not tell you about this in the first two classes because you would get confused. I didn't want you to even get a perception that you have been asked to do something that's pretty difficult. I wanted you to learn the basics first about freelancing, and then I wanted to, the plan was to show you the link where you can, uh, you can literally, on your fingertips, learn every single detail about freelancing. So whatever I've told you, whatever I have just, you know, tried to explain in this video, and whatever I'll try to explain in the future videos, all of that information literally is in different blog posts, one way or another, on beingguru.com. You need to learn how to search. So once you learn how to search for a content you're looking for example, there's a whole lot content about Fiverr, how to get rank on Fiverr, why don't you get orders on Fiverr, how to cancel an order on Fiverr, how to create a gig on Fiverr, how to bid on Upwork, how to bid on Guru.com, how to the mistakes, the do's and don'ts, the Satarangi formula. Every single detail you ever wanted to learn about freelancing is available in this category, freelancing, and the link is in description. I still see not many people are clicking on it. That's your choice. I'm no one to force you to make a decision, and that sometimes makes me feel sad that people don't listen. But anyways, it's your choice. So I'm gonna come back to you tomorrow, and that's digital marketing. And tomorrow we're gonna have a conversation because we have discussed in detail about search engine optimization. We have discussed the importance of backlinks. We have discussed the import. By the way, the backlink example. Not sure if you guys have. Hold on for a second. If you guys have seen the link, but I have actually created it on Being Guru as well. So you can bookmark it and start contacting every single list and request them to give you a bookmark. So I'm gonna give you a link here again. There you go. Paste and match. There you go. Just submitted it, and 180 around 180 bookmark websites with do follow links. That's high domain authority websites that would let you reach out to your business related keywords on Google faster. That's what I've done with Rich Dad Poor Dad. Remember, in one of the early classes of blogging, I changed the keywords for Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I included the keyword Rich Dad Poor Dad summary. Now in Pakistan, Rich Dad Poor Dad summary is actually ranked in second page of Google. That's what I see, and amazingly, surprisingly, amazingly, I'm so surprised that I was educating you, teaching you for free, only to find out that a lot of traffic is coming from Google search engine for the keyword rich dad, poor dad, right? So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is yours day. Make sure your internet is good, light is good. If I see anybody lying idle on a bed, if you can't get off the bed, don't expect me to take you on a call. For guys, you have to appear on a video. For ladies, that's okay. You do not have to turn your cam on if you are shy. But all I'm requesting you is it's going to be a long discussion tomorrow regarding digital marketing. 2 hours I'm going to give you, 9:30, 9:45, whatever it is, 9:45 it is, I hopefully. So I expect to have a lot of people joining that stream and asking me questions. And one last thing, hey, one last thing. So I'm creating a blog post tomorrow, and that blog post would let you upload a video up to 1 minute. So on my main channel, I'm gonna create a daily video that's called as Q&A with Hisham, and we're gonna pick 5 videos, edit them, and then I'll answer all those 5 videos. So I expect I'll get around hundreds of questions. Uh, so every single day, 5 videos will be picked, replied to, and uploaded on my main channel. We probably can do the same for this channel as well in English, because it only makes sense if you ask me a question in English, because my motive of opening this channel is to teach an English language, so that I can expand my training wings to English speaking countries as well. On a personal front, as a YouTuber, it pays off well to have an English account and a content in English, because people actually like it, uh, because they understand English. So therefore, the chances of hey, by the way, there's a new job posted on social media marketer, as for social media marketer on workchest.com. The guy has given his phone number as well. His name is Ibrahim Jan. Go to workchest.com, and the very first project you will see, the latest one, looking for social media marketer, call him and tell him you are the best of the best of the best of the best. I love you all. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.